They control the food. They control the water. They control the energy that keeps the lights on, that keeps the heat running, and that puts gas in our vehicles to get to and from work. And when someone controls everything that you need just to survive, you're willing to pay almost any price. And that's how they keep us trapped. But what if we just stopped playing the game? A part of me always knew just how much control these big corporations had over our lives when we were living back in the US, but I didn't really understand it until we left. We've been slow traveling for almost a year and experiencing different countries and cultures all around the world. And stepping outside of the matrix of the United States has given me a whole new perspective. Even though I kind of understood it, I truly understand it now. When you're inside the system, it's hard to see it clearly. But once you leave, it's really impossible to ignore. In so many places around the world, life moves slower. People grow their own food. They know their neighbors, and they don't need all that extra stuff to feel secure. And even though they might not have all of the conveniences of life in the US, they are often much happier and they feel much more free. It's really important to understand that this system does not work without us. We are their workers, we are their consumers, we are their products. Their entire machine operates on us staying obedient, distracted, and convinced that we need them more than they need us. But the truth is, they need us far more than we need them. In America, corporations control almost everything that we need in order to survive. Our food, our water, our energy, our information system is all controlled by corporations. The government, yes, but corporations and a handful of very wealthy people that have the money that basically own the government at this point, they control everything. And that is a very dangerous situation for us to be in. In other places around the world, there are still small businesses. People know how to grow their own food. They can source fresh water, and they're not dependent on these systems in order to meet their most basic needs. I am not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not some ultra prepper, but I do realize after leaving and seeing how the rest of the world functions that we have become very accustomed to convenience. It has allowed us to be able to be controlled. When someone controls the very basic things that you need in order to survive, you will be willing to pay almost any price. If your children are hungry and you need to put food on the table, you are going to work as hard as you have to in order to provide for them. You are going to work 3 jobs. You will pay $10 for a gallon of milk. They know that. That is how they keep us trapped. That is how they keep us controlled. But resource control is not their only weapon. They have mastered something even more dangerous: division. When people are busy fighting each other, they will never unite against the system that is keeping them all trapped. They are feeding us narratives that are making us fear each other, instead of seeing that most of us are the same inside. We all ultimately want the same thing. I mentioned this in a previous video, and a lot of people have disagreed with me that people don't want the same thing. If you feel that way, you're not zooming out far enough. Zoom out farther. Nobody wants to suffer. Everybody wants to be happy. The disconnect is thinking that other people are causing your suffering or are making you unhappy. Zoom out, stop blaming each other, and start looking at the real problem. Divided we are weak, but together we are powerful. They don't have to take your freedom by force if they can convince you to give it away just for some comfort and convenience. We hand over our privacy for access to social media. We give up our sovereignty for a little bit of safety. We are trading away our time, our attention, and our health in order to keep their machine running. They've built a system where our survival depends on us playing their game. If we want to eat, we have to go to work and work hard for it in order to buy things from their stores. We don't grow our food anymore. We don't know how. If we want to keep our family warm, we have to pay our electric bill instead of going out and heating our home with firewood that we have chopped down, which is less convenient, but spending time in nature, being physically active, and doing things that benefit you are way better for your well-being. And they have convinced you that it's just too hard and not worth it. It's way easier to go to work for somebody else, to make a little bit of money, fake money, money's not even real, in order to pay the system to heat your home. Is it really more convenient to go to work many hours in order to pay your electric bill? And once they have us trapped, they can raise the prices as high as they want to. That's how the game works. Supply and demand. They raise the price and we work a little harder in order to pay for it. We trade more hours, more of our energy, and more of our time in order to meet our most very basic needs in order to survive. And that tells them one thing, that they can keep going. Most of us were never taught how the system actually works, and of course not, right? They don't teach us about money in school. We do not get taught about financial literacy and how to build wealth, because the less you understand about money, the easier you are to control. They don't want us all to thrive. They want us all just surviving. And a lot of Americans are convinced that we need our guns in order to protect us from our government. They don't need to point a weapon at you if they already control the things that you can't live without. How much are you willing to trade to feed your family, to keep warm in the winter, to just be able to go to work, just to keep playing their game? You know, from their perspective, weapons are not going to be used against them. They have the control without guns. You know, we live in a whole different world now. You know, we're not going to go in hand-to-hand combat. We have nuclear weapons. We have just supply chain shut off. They can stop bringing food to the grocery stores. They can stop providing you with fresh running water. They can just stop bringing gas to the gas stations. There's so many ways that they can just shut off the power in the middle of winter and you can't keep your family warm. They already have control over us. The weapons are going to be used against each other, fighting our neighbors. Because when we're fighting each other, we won't fight them. An entire culture has been built around us feeling like we're not enough. We're not pretty enough. We don't have a nice enough house. We're not successful enough. We're not young enough. We're not wealthy enough. And when people feel like they're not enough, they consume more. That's the game. But what if we stopped trying to be enough and just started being? You know, they only have the power when we give it to them. If we stop feeding the machine, then it weakens. We don't have to buy everything that they tell us that we need in order to be worthy. We can start making things, growing things, learning new skills. We can reclaim our time and our lives. They've made things like growing food and building community and living simply some sort of radical act. But it's the most natural thing that we can do. It's the way humans have lived for thousands of years. It's our human nature. We need to get back to that. It's not extreme. It's how we are supposed to live. We have been manipulated to believe that their form of convenience is better. But look around. Our mental health is awful. We're not free. And maybe most importantly, we need each other. Strong, connected communities are more powerful than any corporation. When neighbors share food, trade skills, support each other. That's real power, and that's how we take our control back. The system doesn't fear your opinions. It fears what happens when we come together. The goal right now is to keep you tired, distracted, and divided. If you're exhausted, you don't organize. If you're distracted, you don't question. If you're divided, you don't unite. This isn't about fighting them. It is about walking away, living smaller, slower, and closer to what's real. We don't have to keep chasing the next big promotion, the bigger house, the nicer car, just to prove that we're enough, because we already are. People imagine the Matrix as some futuristic machine, but it isn't. It is the voice in your head that is telling you that you are not enough. It's the entire system that is teaching you that you need to work harder, you need to buy more, and you need to obey. It's just a mindset, and once you are aware of it, there's really no going back. One of the biggest things holding us back is not understanding how our system works and how money works within that system. Money is one of the biggest players in their game. Financial literacy is not taught in school, and that is not an accident. Money is their power. And one of the ways to take that power back is by learning about money and how it works in our current society. And you don't have to do that by becoming ultra wealthy. You just have to learn their cheat codes. And that is one reason why I created the financial literacy adult curriculum to help people better understand finances so that you can play the game better. If finances is something that is holding you back, then you can check out my financial literacy course. I will leave it in the description down below. Our freedom is not going to come from fighting. It is going to come from quietly and slowly walking away. It really is that simple.